Went for the vaccination. The child was fine. A month later, the parent was up in arms, didn't know what was going on because the baby had just lost it. What I don't like seeing is a 20-pound little baby going in and having this one massive inoculation with all of these things combined. I like it spread over because, look, our autism rate is at a level that it's never been. Nobody's ever, you know, in the old days, you didn't even hear about autism. And now it's at a level that's so high.
I am totally in favor of vaccines, but I want smaller doses over a longer period of time. Because you take a baby in, and I've seen it, and I had my children taken care of over a long period of time.
They have to get the shot. The vaccinations are so important. This is really going around now. They have to get their shot.
3-4 weeks ago, I was sitting down and said, what do we lose with the regular flu? They said about 27,000 minimum, goes up to 70, sometimes even 80. 1 year it went up to 100.
Isn't it amazing what the access to power can do to somebody? First Boromir, now President Trump. We'll be right back. Stay with us. That's right. I'm talking to all you pawns out there who have been captured by the kings and queens of this country. Remember, the goal is to capture all you want, not to be captured. And you better take back your freedom now. It's being rapidly taken away from you. This is a new normal that they want you to get accustomed to. Do not accept it. Do not comply. And we're going to be talking to Gerald Celente here in just a second. Before we do, real quickly, I want to remind you about the products and sales that we have at InfoWarsStore.com because that's what funds this program. We have, as I pointed out, I was talking about Pollen Block earlier in the program. It is now, unfortunately, sold out. We have some other products that are going to be selling out soon because we've put them on big discount, 30 to 60% off our best sell so far in 2020. It's going to be a while before we have these deep discounts again. Some of the products that are going to be selling out soon, and again, under this messed up supply system that we have here, we're not really sure what our availability is going to be. I mean, we're having difficulty here at the office getting cream for the coffee and paper towels. So I'm not sure about some of these health supplements, if we're going to be able to get them or not. We can take orders for storable food right now. We're going to soon be running out of Vitamin Mineral Fusion drink mix and BOD-EASE. BOD-EASE, however, is still 40% off. X3 triiodine is now 60% off. We're going to be running out of that soon. Ultra 12, our vitamin B12 formula, that's going to be out soon. That's 40% off. And we have a lot of other products. We have the 8-pack Power Stack that is 70% off. DNA Force Plus, 50% off. We have VasoBeat, which is a concentrated beet juice, and it acts naturally as a vasodilator. VasoBeat is 40% off. Many other products at InfoWarsStore.com. Take a look at the products that are there. Many of them are rapidly selling out. And again, just like meat at your local grocery store, we don't know what's going to happen in the new United States of Venezuela under the central control of Fauci and President Trump. We're not really sure what's going to be happening next. So take a look at the products we have at InfoWarsStore.com. Stock up now because you never know what's coming down the pike. All right, joining us now is Gerald Celente. Again, you can find his excellent Trends Journal at trendsresearch.com. You can also follow Gerald Celente on Twitter at Gerald Celente. So joining us now is Gerald Celente. Thank you for coming on, Gerald.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. And I really appreciate all that you do in InfoWars. So thanks so much. And I have to tell you, I'm just heartbroken. I'm so sad to see how they've sucked the joy and beauty and liberty and love out of life.
Yeah.
It's just, and you said it. You said it. We better fight for freedom because, and you called it perfectly. They're kings and queens, and people bow to their kings and queens like gutless little boys and girls.
That's
Where's
right.
the fight? Where is the integrity? And in this country, it is not only here, it's around the world. Look what's going on in Italy, in Spain, in France, in Germany. One after another, the people bending over and taking it up the you-know-what by little boys and girls, cowards, liars, freaks and fools, ruining and running their lives. I'm so sad.
Yeah. You know, they had Operation Haircut where they had a lot of barbers because it was that 77-year-old barber that was opening in defiance of the Queen of Michigan, Whitmer, and she was coming after him. So they kind of doubled down on it. They organized an event on the lawn of the Capitol building there in Michigan. They called it, Gerald, Operation Haircut. And I thought, that reminds me going back 7 years when they did a haircut in Italy where they just stole people's money. But this is much worse than that haircut because, that was taking some money from some people. This is taking the middle classes wealth, is taking away their ability to generate income, to have jobs, to have upward mobility. This haircut is eviscerating the middle class, isn't it?
Oh, yes. You saw this. You saw the numbers coming out. They're looking at a third of the small businesses not reopening. Yeah. And where's the money going to? You know where the big money's going to. I mean, it's a freak show. You have the equity markets skyrocketing, as the global economy is going down because the Federal Reserve is dumping trillions of dollars into the gamblers' markets on Wall Street and hedge funds buying junk bonds. It's insane. And again, it's great that some people, and look at these cops, look at these tough guys. They're just so disgusting, these guys that are, you see the clips of the things that they're doing to people, those brave cops, And
right. Pull up the B-roll, guys, of what was going on in California. Show that to the audience and Gerald, the beginning there where they had those cops in full riot gear intimidating those young women with signs. Absolutely amazing. There's a SWAT team in Texas, but show them the California protests. Gerald, as that was happening in California, one guy who was a former Marine got on a bullhorn. We played that extensively yesterday. Look at this, Gerald. These are cops. I mean, this is the worst part of the police state. And in the face of these guys, you had a Marine say, you took an oath to the Constitution. He shamed these guys with a long speech until the point that they turned around and walked away. And that's what we need, Gerald. We need people like that former Marine, and we need pastors who are talking about, who are standing up to this kind of tyranny. We need law enforcement officers, people who take their oath to the Constitution seriously, former military, pastors. We need them to talk this down, or it's going to get violent.
It is going to get violent. Yeah, but my saying, when people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. We're going to see crime rates go beyond what anybody can imagine. Even when they reopen, then people will go to work and start stealing stuff and or all they can get. This thing isn't a rebound, a V shape, a U shape. This thing is going down so hard, it's beyond the belief of what we've ever seen in modern history. You think anybody's going to travel anymore with all these restrictions they're putting on? Do you realize what's going on with the tourism industry totally dead? And all these countries just go south of the border, go down to the Caribbean, go around the world where they rely on tourism for people to have jobs that have no jobs anymore. You're going to see homeless levels beyond what we could imagine. Poverty. Oh, by the way, the poverty and that's going to be killing more people, 10 times more than the coronavirus has. Yes. And the hardships.
Why can't even get meat in the grocery stores? I mean, that's the most. Did you ever think in your lifetime that you would see instantly, for no reason at all, this imposition of central planning and complete disruption of the food supply so that we can't? They're killing cattle and hogs and chickens, and yet we've got meat shortages in the grocery store at the same time?
It's insanity. Again, we have sick people running and ruining our lives. We better unite for peace.
Yeah.
And we better unite for liberty, and we better fight for peace. And I'm a warrior for the Prince of Peace. I won't die in war, but I fight for peace. And so do you, and so should everybody that listens to InfoWars and does get out and start uniting in movements. Oh, this is going to be big. This is coming up. Tax revolts. We're going to start seeing tax revolts. David, this is very important because they're not lowering our school taxes as they're closing down schools.
That's right.
They're not lowering our property taxes as we're getting less services. So why are we paying more property taxes and higher taxes?
That's right. They don't care about the deficit, so why should they collect taxes? I mean, it's just put it on the tab, right? No, the taxes are about control. It's another place where they take away your freedom. We got more to talk about with that in the coming trends with ᴑʌʟ Celente. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, we got the clowns on the left and the jokers on the right, and they've locked down this country, and Gerald and I both called this from the very beginning. I mean, we were both saying it. They're going to destroy the country, but then they're going to say, we saved you. And what are we hearing now? But now we've got a second wave, and a third wave is coming. Second wave is going to be testing and tracking and surveillance and maybe some detention of people who don't follow these new sets of rules. And then the third wave is going to be the vaccine, and that's what we said from the very beginning. They're going to lock everybody up. The ability to work, to travel, to go to school is going to be conditional, and it's going to be conditional on you taking the vaccine. And I want to talk about that, but before we do, just before we went to break, Gerald, you were talking about the tax revolt that you think is going to be the next trend coming up. And oh, by the way, you can find Gerald's Trends Journal, excellent source of information. You can find that at trendsresearch.com. You can get a sample of that there at trendsresearch.com. And you can find Gerald on Twitter at ᴑʟᴜ Celente. But talk about the trend that you see with tax revolt and other trends you see.
Yeah, people are going to start taking to the streets on this one. There's going to be a lot of really big pressure on governments because people are not going to be able to pay their taxes. Yeah. So that's what's going to make it real. It's not like, oh, these taxes are too high and we're going to challenge it. No, I can't pay the taxes. I'm not getting. If I had buildings over here, I'm not. People are leaving. How am I going to pay my mortgages? How am I going to pay my taxes? Oh, you want me to pay taxes when I can't rent out my buildings because you slime balls over here kill the economy? And you want me to keep paying? Oh, and you're raising the taxes, by the way. So there's going to be, and then all the people out of work, all the people who have lost their jobs, how are they going to pay their mortgages? And they're going to pay their taxes. So we're going to start seeing real strong tax revolts going on. But this is also important. As sad as we both are and disgusted, I think that I'm not speaking for, I'm not putting words in your mouth. I
am disgusted. I told you during the break, I said, we're both talking about the fact we don't go to stores anymore. My wife doesn't go to stores anymore. If I go, the real threat to my health is blowing my stack from high blood pressure because I get so angry at the insanity that's going on there and the rules that they're trying to impose on me. That's my real health threat.
So in saying that, this is going to be a time for a new third party. There's never been a better time than now. Because both parties are the same, as we know. They're both murderous thieves. And anybody that thinks they're different, you better grow up. And of course, they're not listening to David Knight or subscribing to the Trends Journal, so we don't have to convince them of anything. So this is going to be a time for a new third party. More so than any time that I've seen since 1989 when I wrote the book Trend Tracking and forecasted someone like Ross Perot in 1992.
Yes, I agree. I would love to have another choice, but the problem is that a new third party, I've worked with third parties. I used to work with the Libertarian Party, try to get on the ballot because they've got very repressive ballot rules for independents or for parties. And part of that, Gerald, is you got to go around and collect signatures. That means you got to get out and face-to-face with people. And nobody wants to do that anymore. And then they don't even want us to have face-to-face elections. They want to do everything by mail or electronically because they've already put their mechanisms in place to rig that. They've got DARPA funding Election Guard through Microsoft to count the votes. I mean, this thing is rigged from one end to the other.
One end to the other. But again, we have to fight for freedom. Because if we don't, we're going to die for war. Again, as I mentioned before, history is repeating itself. The 1930s, you had a currency war, a trade war, a Great Depression, World War II.
Yep.
We had currency wars, trade wars. We're going into the greatest depression. It'll be World War III. And this will be the war that ends all wars, as they mentioned from Albert Einstein, the cat that knew a little thing about an atomic bomb, when they asked him what kind of weapons will be used to fight the Third World War. He said, I don't know. He said, but they'll be using sticks and stones to fight the fourth. And that's why we must fight for freedom. And because if we don't, we're going down. On the other, you mentioned about Cuomo and what's going on. You asked me about New York. It's dead here. It's totally dead. People, the streets are empty. We're in the foothills of the Catskill Mountains. You see people bicycling with masks on, walking down the street with masks on, with the windows rolled up in their car with masks on. Grow up. How stupid can you be? And then the facts, and they're all in the Trends Journal. The people that, the median age of the people dead in Italy. Oh, it's only 80 years old.
That's right. And in Pennsylvania as well. The median age was, 79, and the life expectancy is 78 and a half years. I mean, that's what you would expect. It's not unexpected. This is not novel.
No, but that's not what the media is putting out. You know how many people died? You know what percentage of COVID deaths in Canada were from? 81%. 81% from nursing homes.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing everywhere. We saw that in Italy first before we locked down the U.S., and now we're seeing the same numbers coming here. And yet the headlines everywhere, look at this, we're going to have 250,000 people dead this summer. They keep inflating that. Yep.
And then the other people are obese, diabetics, the lung disease, respiratory ailments. So
cardiovascular.
Those are the people that should be locked down. So going back to Cuomo, this little slimy boy, this arrogant little boy, the daddy's boy, I'm going to tell you something. His father's better than anybody else's. We're going to rename the Tappan Zee Bridge after Daddy. We'll call it the Mario Cuomo Bridge. And his little brother on the Cartoon News Network, Chrissy. I'm so sick. I chipped my foot. I get coronavirus. Hey, you're back at work. What's going on? What happened? I thought you were going to die. Anyway.
That's right. Yeah, if all we do is we have a bad dream and some visions, and sign me up. I can handle it. We don't have to shut down the entire economy, right? He had, 2 days or something? He had bad dreams and a vision of his father?
Yeah. So now, there he is, the little boy. An arrogant. Hey, Cuomo, come over here and force me to wear a mask. No. Leave your little boys behind. You come over here and put a mask. Oh, no, I got a better one. Try vaccinating me.
Oh, yeah.
You're shooting your fat little mouth off. Are we all have to get vaccinated? Come over here and try to stick that needle into me.
Well, you know what he's saying, Gerald, is he's saying the vaccine must be available to all people, said Governor Cuomo. It can't be a situation where only the rich, only the privileged get the vaccine. But you and I both know that it's going to be the rich and the privileged who don't get the vaccine forced upon them, isn't it?
Right.
Exactly the opposite.
Just like the rich and the privileged are getting rich with this, with Trump giving them all the money, the Federal Reserve. They're rich, getting richer, and all of us are going down. So going back to the little slimy, low-life scum, Cuomo, who closed down the state, do you know that the death rate per capita of COVID in New York State is the highest in the world?
That's right. It didn't have any effect, did it?
None.
Compare that to Sweden, where they didn't do anything, or compare that to Brazil, where they're all over Bolsonaro for not doing anything. The case fatality rate in New York and the spread of it is higher than anywhere else, and they were right after California in terms of lockdown.
Exactly. The whole place
made no difference.
Now, number two, we rank third in the world of COVID deaths. Third in the world, number one in the world per capita. And they locked down the entire place.
Yeah.
And you know what the little slimy lowlives are going to do with the media? Well, if we didn't lock it down, it would have even been worse. Now, you destroy the economy, you destroy people's lives, it's not coming back. People isn't it fun to go out and to a restaurant and wear a mask, or get on an airplane and wear a mask?
We know the key thing, Gerald, is even if they tell us, even if our masters tell us that we can now come out of our areas there, and there's the New York Post today saying it's got to end now. But even if they say, okay, it's over, you can all come out, people are still going to be afraid. We have got to reverse the lies that have been used by Fauci and the White House to shut down this economy. And unless we reverse that psychological op and have the people who are telling us the truth from the very beginning point out that these guys are liars, it isn't going to end when they say you can come out. People aren't going to go to the restaurants. They're not going to travel. No,
because the media is the one that sold it first.
Yeah.
Again, we wrote about it. You could go back in our January 28th Trends Journal. This is like a week after it broke out. Broke out, what, Lunar New Year in the middle of January. The headline was, Coronavirus, 106 dead in China. And an hour line after it was 1.4 billion still alive.
It didn't make any difference. It only made things worse. I wish we had more time.